Hey, everybody, it is unbelievable. We are back yet again with yet another Panthers playoff preview. Randy Moeller, Steve Goldstein. It is Stanley Cup final time. Incredible Moles. 3 straight years. They are the 9th franchise ever to do that, the 15th team ever to do it. And when you consider, Randy, they've done it in 3 full seasons, and in the salary cap era, it's about as impressive as it gets.
They're building a dynasty here, and they're doing it from the top down and from the bottom up. And it just shows the commitment from the ownership and the moves by Bill Zito, the general manager in this hockey operations department, the coaching staff, and least but not least is the players. And not only the players, the cores that have been here through the bad times and now the real good times, but also to the players that they've acquired to keep this culture in the locker room and especially on the ice together and have the success.
We're here at the Baptist Health Iceplex where the Panthers practice, and then they'll head over to Edmonton. Let's start in the middle with the Panthers. When you look at this series, Alexander Barkov, Randy, the matchup with Connor McDavid, and as we go back a little bit, I want to know what you were thinking when that game's tied in the third period and Barkov makes that outrageous play to set up the Eastern Conference final clinching goal by who else but Carter Verhaeghe.
There's only less than 5 players that it can fit in your hand, how many fingers you got in your hand, that can make that play under the pressure and the circumstance that the Panthers were in at that time. Barkov showed the poise and the patience and the confidence for his talent to come up and forward to be able to make that move, and then to feed Verhaeghe for that goal was something, one of the top goals in the franchise history. You
think the matchup with McDavid is the key to this series, one of the keys? How do you look at that?
Well, you got to go back to last year, and of course the Panthers jumped out to that 3-0 lead, and Barkov had that perfect balance, Goldie, of not only leading offensively, but defensively as well. I look for the matchup, although the first 2 games are in Edmonton. Will the Edmonton Oilers try and keep that line again away from Alexander Barkov, the McDavids, the Dreisaitl's, and that's going to be one of the interesting inside stories of this series.
Yeah, the rematch, the Panthers and the Oilers. The Panthers won in 7 last year. Now, huge factor, and this is the way they envisioned it in early March when Bill Zito pulled off the great deal to get Seth Jones. Jones with Mikkola, Forsling with Ekblad. What does Seth Jones mean to this top 4 defense with the minutes he plays and the way he moves and skates?
Well, again, kudos to the hockey operations. They realize that he is a talent and that you can't teach size and reach and to be able to, and he's got the smarts, he's got the confidence. He acclimated himself so quick with the culture and the system that Paul Maurice has with this hockey club. He feels comfortable playing, whether he's playing 28 minutes a night or 23 minutes a night. The big thing for him, for Seth Jones, is to just keep things simple and then get up the ice, because he's a big part of the offense.
You look at it as they basically have 2 top pairs defensively.
2 top pairs, yeah, that can play against any line of the Edmonton Oilers in this series.
And of course, Zach Hyman is out for the Edmonton Oilers, so that's a loss.
Big blow.
That's a big loss for them, yes. Very often, these series come down to goaltending. I'm sure there's no one you'd rather have right now than Sergei Bobrovsky since Game 2 against Toronto. He's just been lights out. Stuart Skinner, was out of the lineup for Edmonton, then goes back in, playing well right now. What do you make of this goaltending matchup in the Stanley Cup final?
Well, if you go by the history, and even for this playoff series that both teams have been in, that you have to favor the Florida Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky's got the experience. He has the poise, making the big saves at the critical times. I don't think that's going to change. With Skinner, boy, he's been up and down. When he's been good, he's been really good. But when he has struggled, it has been devastating for the Edmonton Oilers. What goaltender are we going to get? Nobody knows until they drop the puck in Game 1.
You think they're doing a better job in front of him, protecting the house?
They are, because I think the puck possession, and that goes to the top players of the Edmonton Oilers and their defensemen. Bouchard back on defense. Darnell Nurse is playing extremely well for him now. He struggled earlier in the playoffs. They've got the puck a lot more, and when you have the puck, it's tough for the opposition to score.
But they have not faced that Panther forecheck, so we'll see how it plays out. Let me ask you, you've been around the league a long time. You've seen some of these matchups. Remember the Oilers in the mid-'80s, lost to the Islanders, the 4th straight cup of their dynasty, then beat them the next year. Pittsburgh, Detroit in the 2000s, split us. How hard is it to beat a team twice in a row?
It is, and you got to think that the Edmonton Oilers are going to look back on the series last year where they got down 3-0, and then came back and won those 3 games to force a Game 7. What the Edmonton Oilers have to worry about, and you just mentioned, is the physicality of the Florida Panthers, and it's not just 2 lines and maybe 3 defensemen. It's all 3 forward or defense pairs. It's all 4 lines. They're all physical. They all play the same way. The pressure, the quickness. If the Panthers show that quickness, and especially the first 2 games in Edmonton, they're going to put themselves in a really good position.
Let me ask you about the line with the now scoring superstar at
Wow.
Tulosterinen, okay, with Lundell and Marchand. That's been the case the last few years, right? The 2 Finns had Reinhardt a few years ago. Last year they had Vlad Tarasenko. Now the great Brad Marchand. Is that line again the Lundell line, the wild card factor for you?
I think so. Yeah, it is, because they're so sound defensively without the puck. They're positioning, and Marchand on that line. But as it's been talked about, Marchand has told those 2 young Finns, when we get the puck and we have control, we are going offense. And that's something that has changed, I think, with the Lundell and the Luostarinen line and whoever's played with them, whether it's Reinhardt. Now it's all offense. And their skill is coming out, and the confidence that they're playing with, the chemistry that they're playing with. That's my X factor. That 3rd line, the Lundell line, could be the deciding factor in the Panthers' favor.
Curious to know if you feel it as much as I do, Randy, since unfortunately you've been around a long time, the 2 of us, but in some ways good, in some ways bad. Over the last 3 years, winning 10 of 11 playoff series.
Yeah, that's tough.
This is the 6th straight year a Florida team, right? Tampa went 3 times, the Panthers now 3 times. How about the buzz here in South Florida and where the game is really all over the state with the success of the professional teams?
Winning just breeds that, and everybody is so excited. And it's not just that the Panthers are winning. I think it's the style that they play. It's the aggressiveness. It's the quickness. It's the attack mentality. The big saves. You see now, every time Sergei Bobrovsky makes a save, whether it's difficult or just a routine, the crowd goes crazy. Every time that Tkachuk gets control of the puck or Bennett gets control in the offensive zone, there's a buzz in the building. And I know everybody that's watching on the TVs as well, and that they've built a culture down here, an expectation, but it is so difficult. It is physical. It is grinding. Goldie, and you and I have said it so many times. It's the toughest trophy to win in all of sports, and I'm just happy that the Panthers are going into this finals relatively healthy.
Game 1 will be their 100th game this season.
Wow.
309 games played over the last 3 years. Just incredible. Final thing, Randy, let's talk about Paul Maurice's adjustments. We've seen that from the broadcast booth over the last few years. He's tied for an NHL record, 10 series wins in his first 3 years after walking in the door with the franchise.
Yeah.
He can set that record. How do you think he's evolved as a head coach? We talk to him all the time, and how's the coaching matchup in this series?
Well, Paul Maurice is a veteran coach. I think, as you mentioned, to be able to adapt at different situations. Look at this last series that they had with Carolina when they were struggled a couple moments in that series. He changed up. He put Rodriguez up on and Verhaeghe.
And they both scored in Game 5.
And they both scored. So to making those adjustments, to realize the sense on the ice and with his bench, what he needs to do, maybe switch up a defense pair as well, get a different matchup. He is the master at it because he has not only the experience, but now he has the success of doing that going forward.
Amazing Panther fans, do not take it for granted. This stuff does not happen. A 3rd straight Stanley Cup final and trying to go back-to-back. Enjoy it, everybody. Make sure you continue to follow all of your Florida Panthers social media channels. We'll see you soon.